Good morning, Frederick County in America. This is Dana B with Charlie M and Scott S. We are the 3% of the Mountain Patriots Educational Ministry. So we want to welcome everybody to our podcast today. And as you all know, there's a lot of things that are going on in Frederick County, especially over the summer. We had a couple people that are leaving. We had a couple people that packed up and left. And we have so many things that are going on in the county. So we have some special stuff that's coming in the next couple weeks where we're trying to find some people for the Board of Supervisors. And we give everybody an equal opportunity to be able to come on here and be able to present their thoughts and ideas. And today we have a good friend of ours from Gainesboro and part of the FCRC, Joe Crane. And we're going to talk to Joe a little bit about why he's deciding to run for the open seat for Frederick County, our Gainesboro Board of Supervisors. And I want to welcome Joe here today with Scott and Charlie. And Charlie, I'm going to turn it over to you because we're going to have a little bit of fun and we're going to learn a little bit about Joe. And then you guys can make a decision for yourself. We're not going to try to steer you one way or another. We're going to have some fun with this morning and kind of see where it goes from there. What do you think, Charlie?
Why not?
Why not?
um, I'm counting on my voice holding out, but I'm not too sure yet.
Well,
Anyway, welcome, Joe. We really appreciate you taking your time and sharing it with us and helping to educate us a little more. But before we get to the specifics on the school board, the position in the race,
Board of Supervisors.
I'm sorry, Board of Supervisors.
We've talked to everybody, Joe, so
We
you
have.
know.
We have.
We
Um,
have.
we'd like to know a little bit more about you, about where you come from, about what makes you you, how you got to the point where, up to the point where you threw your hat in the ring. Um, so if you tell us who is Joe Crane, we'd appreciate it.
Yeah, sure. Hey guys, thanks for having me on.
Thanks for
I
being on, Joe.
appreciate it. What's that?
I said, thanks for being on.
Oh yeah. Hey man, you guys are great. The Mountain Patriots, a great bunch of folks. Just good, down to earth folks that want to do the right thing for the county, and I appreciate you guys.
Thank you.
And I'm glad to be a part. To be honest with you, I'm glad to be a part of FCRC and just be, trying to be a good citizen in our county. A little bit about me. I grew up in a small farming town in called Lincoln Park, New Jersey.
hmm
It was we had more dairy cow than we had people in the town, and I just loved growing up in that atmosphere. Uh, we were poor. There was a family of six of us living in a two-bedroom home that was about 800 square feet. But as a kid, I didn't realize I was poor. I just went on with life. Life was good. I worked hard, paper routes, and worked in restaurants and did a bunch as a kid in high school. Played lacrosse and wrestled. Um, I was the only one in my family to graduate high school. Both mom and dad dropped out during the Depression to work, and my brothers and sister just didn't have any interest in school, so they dropped out. And then I was the only one in two generations to go to college. I went to college. I worked my way through working on chicken farms. And if you ever wonder how those chickens get in the crates that are on those 18 wheelers, that's what I did. Catching chickens, putting them in the crates. And you know what? I did it 6 nights a week, and that's what paid for my college. So never took out any loans and the like. So, and that was good. I had skin in the game. And actually, with all of our kids that went to college, we had them pay 50% of everything because we wanted them to have skin in the game as well. And then,
Absolutely.
you know, mom and I, we took care of the rest. So uh, um, I'm married to the wonderful Sharon Crane, and I've got four children, two boys, two girls. They're all grown, six grandchildren, and we're waiting on a few more here. So life is good. It's all about family. Unfortunately, they're all spread out between Michigan and South Carolina.
Boy, they're
So
all over, huh?
yeah, they're all over. But you know what? Once a year at Labor Day, we have our big family reunion at our house. We normally have about 30 people. and we just have a blast. So it's always good to be with family. That's my family setting. When I got out of college, I did something I've always wanted to do. In 1966, the #1 hit was The Ballad of Green Beret. 2 years later, I saw the movie with John Wayne, and I'm like, I want to be
Love
a
it.
Green Beret. And so that's what I did. I joined the Army. I was actually a Soviet analyst, and then I was assigned to Special Forces and as a support guy. And a couple years later, I went through SFQC, the Special Forces Qualification Course. 363 started, 63 graduated.
Wow.
There's basically a 14% pass rate overall. I say that to tell you I don't quit, right? No matter what comes in front of me, I'm either going to go over it, under it, or through it. And I don't take no for an answer. And it was because of my Special Forces training that's the way I am.
Mm-hmm.
I might as well talk about my career a little bit in Special Forces.
Yes, please.
Yeah, that'd be great.
I was on a couple specialty teams. I was on a covert collection team at one point. And I was on a hostage rescue unit for about 4 years. I was an instructor at the hostage rescue course. And I was on a rucksack team. That's the basic Special Forces A team. And you know what a lot of people don't realize, obviously we're not all Rambos. You take a look at me and you kind of figure that one out. However, one of our main missions is called unconventional warfare. And that is where one 12-man A team is charged with building from scratch a 500 man battalion. That battalion could be meant to overthrow government, like
Mm-hmm.
the horse soldiers in Afghanistan, right? They met with the Northern Alliance to overthrow the Taliban government. The Contras in Nicaragua, right? They were
Wow.
raised Special Forces guys to overthrow the communist government in Nicaragua. And then there's foreign internal defense, where I've done the same
That's
thing
pretty
in El
wild.
Salvador, right? To defend their country against the communist guerrillas, the FMLN. And so that's what we do. Now, in order to do that, you've got to be able to get along with people, right?
Mm-hmm.
First of all, you've got to maintain a standard for those that you're training. But in order to make things happen, you've got to work with the U.S. embassies. You've got to work with three-letter agencies. You've got to work with the host nation government. You've got to work with the host nation commander and trying to steer that guy in a direction that you want to steer him, right? So it's a matter of winning hearts and minds and getting the job done.
Yep.
And I've been pretty darn successful at that. When I retired, I was hired as a contractor for the Bureau of Reclamation to select, hire, train, certify, and oversee the Federal Emergency Response Force, which were SWAT teams. I had to put together 5 to cover one of the largest dam in the United States, one of the top 5 national critical infrastructure in the U.S., because there was at that time a direct threat. Now, the issue is the Bureau of Reclamation, the local guys that have actually, they've got all the power.
Mhm.
They didn't want armed guys on the dam, even though there was a direct threat against the dam, right?
Why? Why is that, Joe?
Because they're engineers, they're scientists, they're biologists, they're
Right?
hydrologists, all these guys, and they didn't want guns. I had to work with them, right? And that was a long process over a couple of years for those guys to actually accept the security apparatus that we were putting on board.
Hmm.
And again, what it is, it's dealing with people, right? It's helping them to see the greater good. And a lot of things I did was I made them think it was their idea, right? Which is important. Now they've got a stake in the game, right?
Mhm.
They've got to claim, oh yeah, hey, yeah, I thought about this. You're right. You thought about this, right? And so that's what I've done throughout my career. When I was the special agent in charge, the commander of the counterterrorist unit for Amtrak, I had 46 states to cover. Couldn't
Mm-hmm.
do it myself with the amount of folks that I had. So we had to work with FBI, the Marshal Service, the Secret Service, state and local police in order to cover all the areas, to train them how to operate on trains, right, and to bring them into the fold and make them to feel part of the family. So that's been my career, dealing with people. I love people, even
Mm-hmm.
people that get under my skin. You know
Me
what?
too.
You know what? They're a soul, right? And so if you look at a person as their inner being, their soul, kind of gives you a different perspective. And
Absolutely. You don't know what somebody's going through. You accept people for who they are, and you try to help people work through different things. And you just got to realize you don't know what people are going through in any specific time. And that's why you have to take the time with people to be able to get along with them. And then you can come to a solution.
I'll tell you who helped me get that point is my beautiful wife. She is the sweetest person on this earth.
I love it.
And we can go shopping, and if the person at the register is rude and grumpy, my first reaction probably isn't a good one, right? But my wife taught me. She's like, she'll smile. How you doing today?
Right?
Are
Be
you having a
nice.
good day? And tell you she's so sweet. And she's like, you don't know what they're going through. They could be
Right.
going through a divorce. They could have cancer. They could have lost a loved one. So always keep that in mind. So my wife is the one that tamed this redhead, right? And helped me to get along those paths. So that's Joe Crane in a nutshell. I own my own business now. It's called Crane American. I do threat vulnerability assessments for houses of worship and for religious schools. I also provide armed security for churches and schools as well. So
Boy, do they
uh,
need it nowadays, huh, Joe?
I just read this morning an article, 389 church attacks this year alone. Oh, I'm sorry.
Unbelievable.
No, I take it back. That was last year. I'm sorry. There were nine so far this year. Last year, all total, 389 attacks.
And how many is it
So,
this year so far?
there were nine just this past couple months.
Right.
Yeah. So I don't know the total number for the year yet, but it was just nine. Actually, since Charlie Kirk,
Yeah, it's
there's
nine
been
too
nine.
many.
Yeah, it's nine too many. No, you're right. So we've got to be vigilant. I do security planning. I help churches get together their security team, and I run exercises for them as well. It's too bad that we've got to do that in churches and schools,
Right.
right?
It is.
But we have to do it. We've got to remain vigilant. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so given all of that and the person you have become, what brought you to throw your hat in the ring, in the political ring, to get on the board of supervisors? That's another totally different world.
Well, yeah, it is. But let me tell you something. I became very political when I was 8 years old when I heard Barry Goldwater give a speech.
Uh,
And at 8 years old, I guess I was kind of a nerd. I'm like, that guy makes sense. Well, it just so happened my grandfather was kind of a big wig in the Republican Party as well, and both my parents were Democrats. Go figure, right?
Wow.
And so my whole life I've been a Republican, but more than that, I have been a conservative. I'm a
Mm-hmm.
Christian. I'm a conservative. I'm a social and a fiscal conservative.
Yep.
So that's who I am, and because of that, I've always wanted to get into politics.
uh,
About 2 years ago, I was asked to jump into the special election for Gainesboro.
Right.
It was a last minute thing. I had 2 days to campaign against Heather Lockridge, and Heather
I
won,
like Heather.
and rightfully so. You know what? Heather
I like Heather a
is
lot.
a lady. You know what? She's a lady. She's a lady of character. She's a good
Yep.
family person.
Her whole
When she won,
family's cool.
well, I don't know the rest of her family, but when she won, I gave her a big hug. I said,
Mm-hmm.
"Congratulations, well deserved." And I will support you. I had written a letter to the editor that I gave her my full support, and I don't have one bad thing to say about Heather. I think she's a wonderful lady.
Agree.
Anyway, I jumped into it. I did get 25% of the vote with 2 days to campaign. And I thought, if I've got the opportunity, I'm going to go at it again. I was not planning on primarying Heather. I wouldn't do that. But
Right.
since the seat is open, I'm going for it. Like I said, I've been very political. I write letters to the editor all the time. I'm currently knocking doors
Hmm.
for Winsome Sears and the rest of the party.
Right.
And I do my best to financially support our candidates the best way I can. So I've been involved, and now it's time for me to step up to the plate.
Excellent.
Super, super. Um, so you're wanting to get on the board of supervisors. How good a job do you think the board has been doing so far, the existing board?
Well, I think, there's been a lot of changes, right?
A lot of
Uh,
changes.
you know what? Honestly, there's been a lot of turmoil, and I'm not going to get into that. I'm going to try to stay positive here. But I really think that we're seeing light at the end of the tunnel.
I
I
do too.
think I think after the elections in November, I think there's going to be the perfect board. I
I
honestly
see
feel
it.
that. I see it. I see the people running, and I just think that we've got a great opportunity for us to come together, like I did in
Hmm.
Special Forces, bringing people together, right, working together to accomplish the mission. And I think the board is going in the right direction now. Considering the changes, they're on their path, honestly, to greatness, not for themselves, but for the county. And we've got some big elephants in the room that we've got to tackle,
Yes,
right?
we do.
And we're not going to do it if we're divisive. We're going to do it if we come together and we unify together, and we can do the best things we can for our county.
Yeah,
Because
you,
there's a
you,
lot of stuff that's been out there. I mean, we're kind of stuck, Joe. So I just got into this thing, not that I haven't always been active, and paid attention. I have always paid attention. My mother was a Democrat, my father was a conservative. Okay, so I kind of get it. That's a toughie. That's why she and I get along so well. But there's so many changes that are coming up right now that we literally have a great opportunity to pull this whole thing together. That's what I see. We watched it a couple years ago with the school board. We were very active about 3-4 years ago, and there is a great opportunity with all of the things that are going on right now that we can do that paradigm shift. We watched it with the school board. Am I right, Scott? Then we have a big paradigm shift with the stuff that was going on with the school board, and we've worked through a lot. People want to change on a dime. Okay, we've got to look back 20 years to what we started with. Okay, and decisions that were made 20 years ago that we have to not only adjust to now, but work in the framework that we have and try to move forward at the same time. But Scott, didn't you see that also?
Yeah, I mean the school board two
Because
th-
you
or
guys work a
two
lot
3 years
together.
ago. The school board 2 3 years ago was not a cohesive bunch of people, and I think once we managed to get mostly conservatives in there, it's become a more cohesive group. I mean, we all have differing opinions, but we all work together, and I think that was lacking. And if you can get everybody on a board to work together, even if you don't agree with people,
Right.
you still have to come to a common ground, and everybody has to do a little give and take, make accommodations. But that's the only
Right.
way you're going to get stuff to move forward.
Right.
Charlie, any questions? Any comment?
yeah. I had to find my mute button. My anyway, I think it's crucial, and I'm really encouraged
I do
that the
too.
board of supervisors and the school board work together, because there's so many other places where the school board doesn't have anything to do with the board of supervisors except demand money and not have any openness or flexibility.
Charlie, we talked about it a lot, and we talked about it last night. You got the economic development, you've got the planning commission. We talked a little bit about that the other night, about the planning commission working with the comp plan. This fits in how to we're trying to get the community, Joe, behind the Board of Supervisors. And we had this conversation last night that, and we'll get into data centers and things like that and some of the changes. But if people can literally pull together and realize that also that a lot of the board of people in the Board of Supervisors or on the school board, they live here too. So all of the things that affect us are going to affect even the board members. And if we're sitting there throwing stones and rocks at the public, and then we're throwing stones at the Board of Supervisors, we're not going to be able to accomplish the goals and get the traction that we need, especially with a lot of the big projects that are coming up now. Wouldn't you agree with that, Joe?
Oh yeah, absolutely. And again, I go back to my history.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I operate. And I think right
Yeah.
now, regardless who is appointed and who is voted in November on the board, I think there are good people lined up,
Mm-hmm.
and those remaining on the board are good people on that board, and I just foresee major unity on that board. I really do, and I see a great future ahead.
I do too.
Given that unity, um, what are the biggest things you see on the horizon that you guys on the board would have to deal with? Will have to
Oh
deal
boy.
with. Not
Um,
so fun.
There's a
yeah,
shotgun. Poof.
yeah. Well, there's a couple big elephants in the room. The
There
first
are.
I see is there are 12,000 homes on the books to be built.
Right.
We can't stop that. That's a done deal, right? And how they got there, well before my time.
That's what I'm
Um,
saying. 20
but
years.
that is changing the entire paradigm of our county, and I don't like it. I
Mm-hmm.
want to keep Frederick County, Frederick County. I like that Mayberry feel that we've had. All right, and I want to keep that. For you young guys, you'll have to type in Mayberry, Google it, and see. But I just want that country, that homey feeling. Right, want to maintain the beautiful ambiance of our county, but we got 12,000 homes that are going to be built.
Right.
We don't have the infrastructure. We don't have the roads. We don't have the water. We don't have the schools. Do you realize that the fourth high school that we're building is already overpopulated? And so we've got to start considering school number 5, a high school number 5. With that, we've got to have another middle school. With that, I'm sure we're going to have one or two more grammar
Elementary.
schools,
Right.
right? Because if we've got 12,000 homes, we could take for granted that's 24,000 people. Most people have 2 kids. Now we're talking 48,000 people in our community. One of the things that's very interesting is, the average real estate um, tax that we get per family is about $1,500.
Mm-hmm.
However, the cost for every new family is $32,000.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Good
That's a
point.
huge delta. So the next gorilla or elephant in the room or bull in the china shop is revenue,
How do we
right?
pay for it?
How do we pay for it? I'm talking to a lot of people in Gainesboro, and I'm getting a lot of good ideas, right? And
Mm-hmm.
so how do we move forward? You know, there's a lot of talk about the data centers. You know, do we
Right.
want the data centers? Where should they go? They don't need to be on the north side of 37 where the beautiful Allegheny Mountains are. We don't want to ruin that scenery, right? Maybe there's a place. However, the current data centers that are in place are using a ton of water. Frederick County is a well community. We depend on our wells to provide water for us. We have experienced a lot of drought within the last 3 years.
Look at the
And
last couple months, Joe. No rain.
yeah, so we just, we can't have an industry that's in our backyard that's going to suck up all of our water. Now, if there's new technology that comes in that they can run on no water or whatever, then we can consider that. But the current configurations, I don't see it as being a viable solution for revenue. It may be, again, with some technological changes. Um, you know, President um, President Trump is talking about revitalizing manufacturing. Well,
Hmm.
maybe manufacturing in the area is good, or maybe we can make a huge push for professional corporations, finance. Why can't we make Frederick County the finance capital of the East Coast? Right? I mean, that's an idea.
Hmm.
I was talking to a lady last night, and she was like, if we had these walking communities, we have the homes, and then there's shopping centers and everything all within walking distance, you know, and I don't know what kind of revenue would that bring in, but I think we need to think out of the box. But we need to think collectively to find a solution. Right?
Perfect answer.
I'm not going to come up with that solution myself. We've got to do that as a team. So we're going to have an overpopulated county.
Hmm.
We don't have the infrastructure. We've got to
Hmm.
pay for the infrastructure. How do we do that?
Hmm.
So those are big elephants in the room that we've got to tame. We've got to figure out, how we're going to cut those elephants up and make it work for the county.
We were
Well,
talking last night also about the substations. Charlie, you want to? We had a great conversation last night about the substations and about um, the data centers and how all of this works together and the roads and the houses and so forth. Because we do this every week. Okay, we try to stay on top of this. So, Charlie, being on the planning commission, what are some of your thoughts on this?
well, there's some resistance and reluctance to
To
putting in
look.
this big substation. And
Hmm.
what I was saying last night is I was just trying to clear it up that this isn't a substation for data centers. There may be a data center or two if we allow them in to to use some of it. But the main idea of that substation, tapping into this huge high voltage transmission line going through our county to
Right.
feed others, the substation is an opportunity to tap into it, to have the capability of having good, clean, high powered, consistent energy to attract these other businesses, to attract manufacturing, to attract industrial. Um, the big thing in what you're talking about, in my opinion. Oh, and by the way, this whole show is an opinion.
Right.
But in my
You don't take our word for it. Go do some research.
right, and the whole idea of getting the budget problem solved by data centers is a siren song that they're singing. For where the real tax increase is in the taxing of the equipment and the manufacturing the equipment specifically. You don't have equipment much to speak of if we get a headquarters organization to come in, but the headquarters organizations would have higher salary people providing higher taxes, but that's only for the county taxes. The most of the income tax goes to the state and the federal,
Talk about
and,
salt.
and not local.
Yeah.
Um,
No salt.
so the substation is something that I feel has to happen in order to have a solution other than data centers.
And
And
there is new technology. I think we're going to see a lot of technology, new stuff come out in the next year or so. I mean, we've got a big battle that's going on
it
right
isn't.
now.
There's an oversimplification, but I'm expecting it to be true.
Hmm.
Is that pretty soon what's handled in a data center will be on something like
Something
this,
smaller,
much
Hmm.
smaller.
much
When
more
that
efficient,
happens, all of these huge data centers are going to be
obsolete.
unusable, not needed, abandoned. They can't be returned to farmland. So our big reluctance is to change any farmland to data centers. Right now, we're pushing we're activating a think tank to come up with all the arguments pro and con for data centers.
We're looking at both sides,
and trying to recognizing that there's facts and there's opinions. So we're trying to separate those two and make our case one way or the other for that.
We've come pretty far with that.
Yeah. So anyway,
let me do a quick commercial, Charlie. Can we do something real quick?
Please.
Okay. Folks, because of everything that's going on with special elections and so forth, putting some folks on the board, and then we've got the November election for governor. Make sure you get out there and vote. We've got to turn things red. We make no bones about it. There's a lot of people that are going to the polls, even Democrats that normally wouldn't think about this are going, oh my gosh, where's my country going? And there's some common sense that's coming back. But starting again after the elections, and I'm not pulling up. This is our podcast, our historical podcast. We're looking for some people that are willing to either speak to us give us some historical context on different historical figures like George Washington, who is sitting right here. Thank you, George.
I'll do that.
Okay. Thomas Paine, Teddy Roosevelt, D.L. Moody. We're covering a lot of different aspects and a lot of different people, and we're trying to get back to the historical roots because most of the kids and most people our age, a lot of people our age don't understand the history. And everything started for the most part here in Virginia. Okay, right here in the valley. So we're going to do the Mountain Patriots historical podcasts. The website will be up soon for you to be able to sign up. So make sure you check us out at the end of October, and then we'll be looking for some people that are willing to spend about 20 minutes and let us interview them as those historical figures to be able to teach other people our American history. So with that, I'll turn it back to you, Charlie or Scott, for the next question.
Scott, did you have any questions?
Well, if I'd like to take the next one, if that's okay with you, because this is something I've been thinking about. Yeah. Are there any local issues that you champion or things that you see need to be addressed? And I'm going to speak for myself personally. Some of the things that I've noticed since I've been on the school board, I've actually worked with Bright Futures, the local nonprofit, and realizing how many of the members of our community here in Frederick County are in desperate need, can't make ends meet. And it's kind of shocking the amount of people that they help with food baskets and the amount of kids that they help. And I'm just wondering if you've ever thought about ways that we could help some of those in our community that might need some assistance or those types of things. What your thoughts might be on that?
There's two organizations that I like and I support. One is Watts.
Clay.
Yeah. Right. And, in the wintertime, there's a lot of less fortunate people, a lot of homeless people. Got it. They're addicted to drugs or alcohol, whatever that put them in that situation. Bottom line is they're still human beings, and we don't want them to freeze to death. So Watts is a good one. And the other is the area food bank. There's a lot of families that, by the time they pay their rent and their utilities, they've got no money left for food. So I think those two organizations, one, we're helping the helpless. The other, we're helping families that are really trying, but they just can't make ends meet enough to buy food to feed their families. So those are the two organizations that I appreciate, I support, and I don't know if that's answering your question.
To a degree.
Okay.
Yeah, you basically.
I kind of put you on the spot, so.
Yeah, you basically have a bully pulpit that, as a supervisor, you can be encouraging these things.
Sure.
From a higher perch to get the word out to more people,
And
even
we're doing
though,
it too, Charlie. You know, I
pardon?
mean, Mountain
Yes,
Patriots. I mean, we go every year and we work for Hunters for the Homeless and Hunters for the Hungry, and we go down and we get about 3,500 pounds of venison, and we go out and deliver it all over the county. You know, we have Mountain Bliss, which is right down here in Mountain Falls. We help Sheila out. She does most of it. She just calls on us and says, "Hey guys, we need some help with this or that." But I think they did 64 baskets of food last week. And I know that I think we're in for a really weird winter. I do. I think we're in for a weird winter weather-wise because weird winter weather-wise. Boy, that's a big one. Uh,
Hmm.
but our weird winter weather-wise, I think we haven't had any rain. Okay. I think that there's something that could happen. We're going to end up with people with cold. uh, People are going to need some help, and I think that that is a bully pulpit for a lot of people on the board of supervisors to say, "Hey guys, we can pull this thing together, and we can pull different organizations together, and a lot of us can be out here helping out." I mean, that's a
encourage,
community thing.
yeah, encouraging charities. I think that's it.
Encouraging charity. I mean, we
Yeah.
do it all the time. We're not that big, you know, but for a little organization, we have an okay footprint, you know.
So, so Joe, um, if you would kind of summarize this and set the stage for answering why should we vote for you?
Um, First of all, I think we need some new blood on the board. Um, the guys that are there doing a great job.
Mhm.
Um, I know there's others that are vying for this position that are already heavily involved in the county government. Um, and I just think that getting fresh eyes uh, is a good thing. So I'm the guy with the fresh eyes. I've been in the county for 22 years. I've told my family I wish I could have raised my family here, but Uncle Sam had different ideas,
That
right?
is.
But I think with my experience, both in the military, in leadership, and the ability to work with others in law enforcement, in the intelligence community, everything I've been involved in that's wrapped up into who Joe Crane is today, I think is going to be a huge benefit for the county.
Mhm.
I just look forward. Hopefully, I'll get the nomination. I'll get the appointment. I'll get on the board, and once I'm there, uh, then I'm going to do my best to win the special election and then the election the year following. So there's several elections coming up. But I think I'm the right guy because I bring fresh ideas to the board. I'm a common sense guy. I'm very pragmatic. When I see a problem, I'm going to look at that problem a dozen different ways to figure out the right way to solve that problem. But again, not unilaterally. It's going to be done with the board. And
Mhm.
like I mentioned earlier, I think we've got the right people on the board right now. I just think I'm going to bring a fresh perspective and be able to work with the board in unity and not what we've experienced the last couple of years.
I'm going to say
Excellent.
this because Mountain Patriots Educational Ministries, we have 7 different ministries. And one of the things that we do when we look at the political landscape of things is we do research. There's so many people that look at a candidate and they go, "I like the way that person sounds, looks, is, who they know. They bought me bubble gum and they took their picture and kissed my kid. Okay, so I'm going to vote for them." Where I'm going with that is we do research. And Joe, I got a chance to meet you a couple years back, and I've done research. Almost every candidate that is here in Frederick County or statewide that we have looked into. We do the research, and I'm just going to go on a limb here. I've done my own personal research, as have a couple people on our board for Mountain Patriots. Your resume is excellent. I'm going to tell you that now. You're personable. I like your style. I like the fact that um, the law enforcement that behind it, the military experience behind it. We have done some research on it, and I'm not coming right out and saying, "Hey, go out there and we're going to endorse Joe Crane," because that's not what we do. But I will tell the people that are watching that what we have seen has been excellent. Okay. We enjoyed having you come out last night and talk with us. And I'm not just saying Joe Crane, we have everybody come out. Anybody that wants to come out and have a voice has a voice at Mountain Patriots. You want to come on our show and talk to the public? We're going to welcome that. We don't care whether you're a Democrat, a Republican, an independent. We want to hear different ideas and different thought processes. There's a lot of liberal people out there that have some great ideas. There's a lot of conservatives, a lot of independents. But where I was going with this is we have done research on just about every candidate that we know, and we have another week to do more. But we were very impressed with having you come out last night and talk to us and taking the time. This is pretty much spur of the moment, folks. They're like, Joe, can you do this and be on the show since you're going to? And he was like, yeah, man, I'll do that. So he dropped everything to be on here with us. And I want to say thank you. But we have done a lot of our due diligence on this as well. Charlie, what do you?
And the process that you're in right now, if some of the listeners don't know, is that
it's different.
It's different. It's tomorrow night. All the candidates speak to the Board of Supervisors.
Correct.
And give their 4 or 5 minute sales pitch or elevator speech. And then the following Wednesday night, the Board of Supervisors picks who they want out of this. So it's basically a job interview. Picks who they want to serve the rest of the current year term,
like 13 months
until the special election, because 2 vacancies will be elected a year from November.
Right.
And then it'll be a normal election, normal door knocking, campaigning, all of that stuff. But right now, it's only the Board of Supervisors that are going to decide this. And we encourage you to pick your favorite and call your Board of Supervisors representative and encourage them to vote if you have an opinion. If you don't have an opinion yet, think about it. And that's the short time frame that's happening right now. And we're trying to help get the word out.
Well, Charlie,
Joe,
people need to come out. I mean, this is on Wednesday night, the Board of Supervisors at 5:30 will have people that are interested in filling that position give their 4 or 5 minute presentation. And I would strongly encourage, if you really care about this county, instead of throwing stones or rocks or just guessing what's going on, do some research on the candidates that'll be there and actually listen to them and see what they see who they are and what they have to say and get a chance to meet them, because this is the opportunity. And then talk to the Board of Supervisors about who you want.
And feel free to show up a week from tomorrow.
Absolutely.
And Dana, I want to. I'm sorry, Charlie. Dana, I want to get back to that point you just made about people not throwing rocks and researching, because that is the most important thing anybody can do who's going to vote. You should know who and why you're voting for that
Absolutely.
person. Not because you like their personality, not because they're dynamic, they look good, because I certainly don't look good and people voted for me anyway. But you know, in my 20 plus years as an officer of election, I can't tell. People look at me funny when I tell them, you know, people coming in with their cell phone going, I don't have cell phone coverage. Can you tell me anything about these candidates? While they're sitting there with the pen in hand. And I'm like, you know, you should do your research before you get there. Or I've had people come up to me, can you tell me who to vote for? I can tell you, but if I have to tell you, you probably shouldn't vote. So
you shouldn't be voting.
Doing your due diligence and researching the candidate, what issue is important to you. I remember last year when I was in one of the high schools, and it was one of the political classes, and these students had to make their own political campaign. And this one girl was struggling, and I was talking to her. I said, well, you want to know how to make your platform? She says, how's that? I said, what ticks you off the most? And she thought about it for a second. I said, once you realize what ticks you off the most, there's your platform. End of rant.
Well put, well stated, well put. But folks, do your research. Don't take our word for it. This is our opinion, but we want to be able to, Mountain Patriots wants to be able to do this, to bring the information out to people so that at least we've done part of it for you. Okay. And then come out and make your voices heard. We have some big decisions. You know, if Joe ends up on the board of supervisors, there's some huge decisions. There's substations, there's taxes, there's data centers, there's a lot, there's growth, there's houses, there's so many different things that we have to look at, not as individuals, but as a community. So please be part of this process. This is what the Constitution was built on. We, the people, tell our people what we need them to do, and we elect them to carry forth what we need them to do on a majority. We're not a democracy, we're a constitutional republic. Get out there and be part of your republic. Charlie?
Yeah, you speak up. Joe, are there any final thoughts that you want to share with us?
I think I've said everything I've needed to say. I don't want to take up people's time, but I really look forward to serving the county. I look forward to getting out and talking to the people of Gainesboro to get their thoughts. I've already done that. I've already gotten a lot of feedback. People coming up say, "Hey, we hear you're, a candidate for the board." I'm like, "Yeah, well, we don't like this or we don't like that." I said, "Got it." And so I like talking with people. I want to get their feedback, and I'll bring their concerns to the board.
Excellent. Well, this has been fantastic. Joe, I want to thank you for taking the time today to talk with us.
And Joe,
yeah, Charlie,
thank you for your service.
Absolutely.
Yes.
It was an honor. It was an honor. Thank you. But I would ask you to thank my wife, who took care of the family while I've been deployed for many, many times.
See,
many
people
years.
don't think about that. They don't think about what the spouses and the families go through while somebody like you is out here protecting our freedoms. These are our freedoms, guys. This is our country. And we have a republic if we can keep it.
What was her name again?
Sharon.
Sharon, thank you for your service.
I was going to say that too. Thank you, Sharon.
Thank you, guys.
Scott, any final thoughts, Mr. Scott?
No, I think we pretty well covered it. It's been a good conversation, and I wish you all the luck, sir.
So this is what we're going to ask you. This is what we're going to ask you. Mount Patriots Educational Ministries, come out and visit with us. Get in touch with us. Check out our website, wakeupwinchester.com. It will be live this week. There's just so many things that we want to put on there so that people have a nice tool to be able to use, not just for Frederick County, but abroad. But we do focus mostly on Frederick County. What you see today, we want you to like what you see, make a comment. We don't know unless you make comments on the videos that we're doing. I think the last video we did, Charlie, was unhinged, and we had 400 or 500 people take a look at that video in 48 hours. Okay, give us your comments. Let us know what's going on, because we can pass them on too. Be part of the process. Like what you see. If you don't like us, let us know you don't like us. Share this video everywhere that you can. Take your phone, copy it, paste it, send it out, make a comment, and make sure you subscribe, because the more subscribers that we have, the bigger we get, the more impact that we can all have as a community here in Frederick County. So with that, I want to thank everybody for taking the time to look at us today and listen to us. And of course, Mountain Patriots is a Christian ministry, as well as an advocacy for our county, but we also have a Mountain Patriots prayer. So I'm going to ask Charlie, as a Christian ministry, if he'll take us out today with a Mountain Patriots prayer. And Joe, thank you for being here, my friend. God bless you.
Thank you. Thank you, guys.
Let us pray. Dear Lord, thank you for this beautiful world and the country that you've given us, and the patriots who are willing to care for it. Thank you for inspiring our founders to create this beautiful republic. Please help us to keep it as the aspiring place to live. Please give us the wisdom to do the right things, the common sense to judge wisely, the energy to never give up, and your unending grace in which we take comfort. In your name we pray. Amen.
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 Folks, thanks everybody for being here today. And as we like to say at Mountain Patriots, this one is in the book. Thanks everybody for watching, and we hope to catch you on the next episode. Have a great day.